So pit, oh yeah, Yinzer crazy. This is it right here, Yinzer crazy.
And happy Tuesday. Although if you are listening to this today, the mood in the 412 is certainly a bit more somber. And that's because last night your Pittsburgh Penguins lost in heartbreaking fashion to the Islanders in Game 5 of their first-round playoff series, which now means they'll have to win back-to-back games, including the next, at what will be a raucous, and I mean raucous, Nassau Coliseum in Long Island on Wednesday. And last time the Penguins were there this past weekend, the Jumbotron showed new Jets quarterback Zach Wilson embracing that East Coast, Best Coast party life as he chugged a bottle of water for all the fans. And I'll tell you what, the place might be so lit on Wednesday that maybe he'll chug a sparkling water, a Don Perrier, maybe even a Shirley Temple. Who knows? All right, now that I got my awful joke out of the way, I of course want to thank Yinz for tuning in to the Yinzer Crazy podcast. My name is Mike Nicastro. Please follow me on Twitter at MikedUpSports1, and of course follow my co-founder at Jordan York Music. You just heard his single Yinzer Crazy at the intro of this podcast. He's got some more heat coming for you guys soon. I also want to let you know we're sponsored by Steel City Wheelhouse, where the bar is set. Check them out at steelcitywheelhouse.com for all of your auto customization needs. John is literally the best in town. And I tell you what, the dude on the show today, not so bad either. He's been one of the best in town for a long time in what we like to call the third phase of the game, at least in Steelers country, and that's special teams. The guy is an undrafted rookie free agent back in 2013 out of Towson. And Jordan Dangerfield is now closing on a decade-long career. Amazing. Well, that is if he can find a job before the fall, as he's currently a free agent, but I would not rule out the Steelers from knocking down his door like they have done frequently in the past. He's going to tell you all about his career with the Steelers, what he's currently up to, and his prospects potentially to be back in black and gold this fall. Jordan Dangerfield, he's a great guy. He's embraced the Berg, and the Berg has embraced him right back. So, without further ado, here we go.
Number one sports site in the Berg, let me show you why. The latest stories in unbeatable podcast with your favorite athletes. You know you can't pause that.
Thank you guys for checking in over here at the Yinzer Crazy podcast. We are, of course, supported by YinzerCrazy.com, sponsored by Case Specific Meal Prep, the most efficient and fastest growing meal prep service in the Pittsburgh area. We're thrilled today because we know that rookies have been in vogue for a while, but it's good every once in a while to catch up with a vet. And we got that just for you today on the podcast. Steelers safety special teams maestro Jordan Dangerfield is with us on the podcast. Jordan, what's going on, my guy?
Hey, what's going on? How you doing?
We're doing great.
Just make sure it's former, but we'll see what happens down the road.
I know. You know what? And I was going to get to that, but you know how it is in Pittsburgh, man. Once you're a Steelers player for more than a couple years, you're a Steeler forever. So you're always going to be Steelers safety Jordan Dangerfield, whether you like that or not.
Hey, absolutely. I embrace that. Absolutely. And black and gold till I die.
For sure, my guy. So, hey, once again, it's great to have you on. And you know what? It's a great segue. It's a good starting point for us because I was just going to mention that you are currently a free agent, but you've gone through this dance a time or two in your career. What indication, if any, have the Steelers or any other team kind of talked to you so far about if they're inclined in terms of bringing you back soon?
Well, yeah, with Pittsburgh, I don't know where it went south, but when the season ended, my exit meetings went great. With my position coaches, Danny Smith, Coach T, Colbert, everything went great. There was no signs that I wouldn't be in the situation that I am right now at all. So I'm kind of dumbfounded by the situation, honestly. And then it is what it is. It's part of the business. There was some miscommunication or whatever was going on when we were in negotiations, and then they ended up signing somebody else to put me on hold. You know, the door's not closed yet, which is good. You know, definitely still keep in contact. Right now, I just got to stay ready, like I always do, honestly. So whenever my number's called with them or another team, I'll be ready. And as far as with them and the other teams, you know, they just kept saying, we'll see what happens after the draft. Rookie minicamp, OTAs. See some guys and everything like that. It's a long off season and a long season. So, God willing, I'll be suiting up this year. I feel good. I may be 30, but I feel good. I feel great. I feel like I'm in my prime. I've put some good film out there, and I'm ready to go.
We're chatting with longtime Steelers safety, special teams ace, Jordan Dangerfield, here on the Yinzer Crazy podcast. He's currently a free agent. And Jordan, I think it's really interesting, man, when you consider kind of the change in dynamic, right? You come onto the scene as an undrafted free agent, looking to make your mark and hang on and stay with the team. And you've had a phenomenal career for a guy that, you've been in the league. You're going on 9 years. I'm not trying to make you feel old. You just told everybody your age anyway. But the roles are kind of reversed, right? Now we got a new crop of undrafted free agents who are looking to make the team. While I'm sure Danny Smith is walking in there pounding the table saying, hey, get me Jordan back here for special teams. Is that kind of a weird dynamic for you, even last season, kind of having to battle guys who are in your position, but how that drive that they currently have?
No, not at all. That's part of the whole league.
Yeah.
There's always somebody. I always take the approach that there's always somebody in life trying to take your spot, no matter what it is in life. But there's always somebody out there trying to take your spot. So it's just motivation me every year. That there's somebody younger than me that's new, that's trying to prove himself too. So that motivates me every year. I love competition, and anybody that I played with or anybody that has coached me, they'll tell you the kind of guy I am.
No question about it. Hey, I want to hear directly from you what it's like being in that room that you've been in so often with Danny Smith. Is the dude chewing gum as hard off the field and off the TV as he is on it, man? We've talked to some Steelers so far, and we get to ask about Coach T a little bit, but I've never asked enough about Danny Smith. Tell me about this guy.
Man, Danny Smith, great guy, man. That's my guy. He definitely changed my life. He battles for me, and I got his back. He has my back, and then no, he does not chew gum in the meetings. But he has it on deck. He might throw a few pieces in there every now and then.
Right.
But I feel like that's a practice and a game thing. But he definitely has his gum on deck. And in the meeting with him, it's focused. Like it's real. Like it's all business. For those 30 to 45 minutes when we're in there, there's no BSing or anything. He's right to it. He knows what he's doing. He's definitely one of the smartest coaches I ever played for.
That's amazing to hear. It really is, because obviously as spectators outside of that room, there's only a select few who get to be in it and hear from him directly. So really cool to hear that he seems like he's just as good of a dude and mentor and role model off the field as we all kind of get a peek to see him on Sundays, man. That gum stuff.
No, absolutely.
Cool. No,
we still stay in contact. So.
Great.
We'll see what happens down the road. Like I said, it's a long season, so we'll see.
Hey, I do want to talk a little bit about last season. Obviously, you guys started off really hot, and I know it might be challenging you in a few regards because you're not currently on the team, even though that could ultimately change at some point. But you can't obviously speak on behalf of when you were last season. You guys start hot, 11-0, of course. Everybody knows the damn story. You end up going 1-5 in the final 6. You lose to Cleveland in that playoff game. As a dude in that locker room, when things started to kind of sour and go south, I would say, I'm sure you guys were still extremely confident heading into that Cleveland game, but what was kind of, were you burnt out? That was one of the first things that came to my mind. Obviously the pandemic and things of that nature, but was there a sense in the locker room that like you guys had just kind of were burnt out because of playing 3 games in 12 days and whatnot?
Yeah, football is football, and then 3 games in 12 days, that's a lot. And anybody on any other team will probably say the same thing, or even if they only play football, they'll say the same thing. But us having the between those 3 games, the schedule that we had, because I feel like every outbreak was with us, a team playing us, and it wasn't even our fault. So the fact that we had to deal with that stuff,
yeah,
I think it was a mental thing. Honestly, we were burnt out. I feel like we still had it, but it's just we might have lost that spark just from everything switching up, playing those 3 games in 12 days.
Understandable, for sure, yeah. And how couldn't you? You talk about just a stress-riddled year all around with what was going on outside of things.
But it's just the thing. No excuses, once we get between those white lines, it's football. So it came up short in those games, and I guess we burned out a little bit. But
Yeah.
It is what it is.
No, I hear you, man, and hopefully you get a chance to come out and avenge that, and hopefully you're suiting up for the black and gold again this year, Jordan. But, you know, it was funny. I just talked to a guy in Pat Fryermuth, second-round pick, of course, out of Penn State, and he was kind of picking our brain on some Pittsburgh things he should do. You, of course, have been living there now for a few years. I know you were just telling me that on the phone before we started this interview. So I'm going to put you in my shoes, right? Say if an undrafted rookie comes up to you, maybe he did last year, and says, Jordan, I've never been to Pittsburgh before. What the heck do I got to do? What are you telling these guys? Incline, good food spots, Pirates game, stay out of the South Side?
Yeah, I was about to say, stay out of the South Side. This one. Stay focused.
Right.
Sure. But as far as food, I mean, food is good. I mean, you gotta go to Primanti Bros. Like it's good to me, but it's not like a go-to for me.
Right.
So I mean, but you definitely gotta try it once you come to Pittsburgh. I'm more of one of my favorites is Hyde Park. Got a lot of history at Hyde Park.
Good steaks.
One of my favorite, one of my favorite restaurants out here in Pittsburgh. Definitely the incline. Take it to the top and look at the view over there at Mount Washington. You gotta do that.
Man, look at you. You really are a seasoned Pittsburgher at this point. I'm telling you. Man, I got it.
No, definitely. I mean, I love it. I love it. I'm out here now, so I'm saying I'll definitely be out here at least for another year, regardless of my family. So, regardless of what happened, I'll be out here training, and I'll be ready to go.
And you grew up, you were born in New York, but grew up in Florida, right?
Yeah, I moved to Florida when I was 14. So, I mean, it depends what you think is like grew up, you know,
sure,
like
sure.
What age does it stop at?
Right.
So I was like 14. I was born and like raised in New York, yeah, but I guess I grew up in Florida because I did all the high school pretty much in Florida.
Sure, right, and I was reading up on that. And not a terrible place to be when it's 45 and raining in May currently in the Berg, as we talked to Jordan Dangerfield here on the Yinzer Crazy Park. I know, man. That's the one thing that I wish we could change. The Primanti sandwiches are good. The Hyde Park steaks are delicious, but they don't taste as good in 45-degree weather all the time. Hey, man, I want to know before we get off this interview with you, and it's been a blast catching up with Jordan Dangerfield here on the Yinzer Crazy Show. Who are some of the guys you're closest with on the team? Do you have a group chat or something going on? Who are some dudes that you're catching up with on the daily?
On the daily right now, honestly, I train with Cam Kennedy. That's my guy, you know.
Yeah.
That's my partner right there on the punt team.
You got it.
I mean,
Yep.
We still got our friendship. We're working out right now still. And most of my guys aren't even on the team. I don't see no more with Dirty Red, Tyler,
Sure.
J Ford, Arthur Moakes. I mean, that's my crew right there. But, I mean, as far as anybody, I'll be sure if I hit anybody up, I mean, I'll be down to talk, to hang out. But, you know, the league is a cutthroat business. Like, I mean, people act like they care about you.
Of course.
But then once you're not there, it is what it is, you know. It's just everybody's still trying to feed their family. So, I mean, it's like that upstairs with coaches, players. You know, I mean, I'm sure it's a bond down the road, but, you know, just when you're in the locker room, it's a locker room thing.
Well, I think the next guy, and hear me out, that you can hit up to take the Primantis or take on the incline or take the Hyde Park Steakhouse, Danny Smith.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. No. That's my guy.
Good stuff.
I mean, definitely. I'm out here. So, I mean, if any of the young guys, I mean, I'm still willing to help out with young guys and teach them a few things if they want to know a few things. Even guys that are coming in that are new to Pittsburgh, I'm down.
Yeah, no question about it.
I'm down. I'm here for the knowledge to give them fair game. You know, like you said, I'm undrafted. And just finished up year 8. God willing, I get year 9. And I could put them on game through the business, through the highs and lows, what happens. You know, I feel like I know the business now because everything I've been through.
I would say so, man. And hey, listen, we're not making the decisions over here, obviously, but I think there's a chance you still might be seeing Jordan Dangerfield on Sundays this fall in Pittsburgh, whether it be suiting up for the Pittsburgh Steelers or just hanging out at Primanti's or Hyde Park down the line this season. Hey, man.
Be ready, you know, I'm gonna give my all if it's in the black and gold or wherever it is. I'm gonna give them my all.
That's one thing.
I just want to play football.
That's one thing Steelers Nation has always loved about you, no question about it. Hey, man, it's been a pleasure catching up with you. Congratulations, seriously, on an excellent career. It says a lot for a guy, obviously, who was undrafted to potentially go on year 9. A lot of guys don't even make it to year 2 or 3 as an early draft pick. So congrats on all your success. All the best, and we'll be rooting for you, man.
Amen. Thank you. I appreciate that, and thanks for having me.
Man, I tell you what, I think Jordan Dangerfield is a really inspirational story. he cut his teeth on special teams, and he's played nearly a decade in the NFL, like we told you, after going undrafted. I mean, the story that he represents is that it isn't always about the glitz and the glamour. Some of these players just aren't willing to work on special teams. And I know that's easy for me to say as I currently down a bottle of soda and chips from my sofa, but it's the damn truth. You have to be willing to be good in all phases. And before you know it, it will lead to additional opportunities and potentially even a 10-year career, much like it has for Jordan Dangerfield. So I want to thank him. I can't thank him enough. A lot of fun. I also want to tell Yinz about the most efficient meal prep service in the Berg. The guys over at Case Specific Meal Prep are whipping up some good eats left and right at a very reasonable cost. If you find yourself on the move early and often, make sure to check them out, csmppgh.com, and tell them Mike and JY sent you. We're also going to send you a few other places, if that's cool. We are exploding with content, and I mean exploding with content over here at Yinzer Crazy. Of course, we have the site, yinzercrazy.com, with breaking news, daily features, opinionated stories, and we also have 2 new web series that you need to check out on YouTube. Just subscribe for free, type Yinzer Crazy on YouTube, and you can watch Yinzeritas, featuring our incredible team. So far, they've had on Pittsburgh's very own and FS1's Joy Taylor, Super Bowl champion Bryant McFadden, and most recently, Steelers defensive lineman Henry Mondew. It's so much fun every time, so make sure you jump on there and smack that like button on YouTube. We've also developed a new Penguins web series. It's called Gwinning, which, of course, we wish they were doing a bit more of right now, because we obviously plan for a very long playoff run, optimally towards a Stanley Cup, but hey, you can't write it off just yet. Some of our Yinzer Crazy staff join me each week to cover 200 feet of ice, and we have some special Pens-related guests on there as well. Thanks for all of Yin's continued support. Make sure you tell a friend about Yinzer Crazy. I want to thank our partners, Steel City Wheelhouse and Case Specific Meal Prep. Of course, both the Jordans, York and Dangerfield. For everybody out there who's already enjoying their summer in the Berg, I am Mike Nicastro. As always, telling you to stay safe, but most importantly, I know you'll do this. Stay crazy.
Super Bowl, World Series, Stanley Cup champs, rising stars, Berg personalities for the fans. We love our city, always Pittsburgh proud. When you're at your job or while you got your cell phones out, breaking down the touchdown goals and home runs, predictions and interview. Who does it like us? No one. Cheering on the Berg squads, no pom-pom. Don't know by now it's YinzerCrazy.com.
So pit, oh yeah, Yinzer Crazy. This is it right here, Yinzer Crazy. So pit, oh yeah, Yinzer Crazy.